You know, when legends start clashing, the shockwaves ripple across the entire league. So today, we're going to get right into two massive NFL debates that are splitting fans, players, and analysts right down the middle. We're talking about a bitter family feud in Pittsburgh and a red-hot argument over who is really the future of the quarterback position.
And it all kicks off with this. This question just drips with raw, unfiltered emotion. It's a defense of a coach, sure, but it's also an accusation of betrayal that has absolutely set the NFL world on fire.
Okay, here's the game plan. First, we're going to break down the Steelers' civil war. Then, we'll pivot to that blockbuster 2024 draft class and relitigate who really should have been the #1 pick. We'll dig into that classic debate of talent versus situation, and then we'll end with the final question for you.
So our first story is all about loyalty, it's about legacy, and it's about what happens when that unspoken code of the locker room gets shattered for everyone to see. And it all centers on the Pittsburgh Steelers and their longtime coach, Mike Tomlin. I mean, this really came out of nowhere for a lot of people. You've got James Harrison and Big Ben, two absolute pillars of that franchise, and suddenly they're speaking out, telling their side of the story in a way that really calls into question the greatness of the very coach who led them to all that glory.
Now, what's so fascinating here is the stark contrast. On one side of the coin, you have the career that James Harrison built under Mike Tomlin. We're talking Defensive Player of the Year, championships, a life-changing contract. But on the other side, you see him publicly questioning it all. And this disconnect, this is exactly why their former teammate Joey Porter felt he had to say something.
And this is where the story just explodes. Because Joey Porter, who played right alongside these guys, he didn't just kind of disagree. Oh no, he came out swinging with an absolutely fiery defense of his coach and of the team's unwritten rules.
You can just feel the emotion in that, right? For Porter, this wasn't just some disagreement. It was a deep personal betrayal. He's basically asking, how can you go on a microphone and attack the very person who was central to your success, the man who helped make you a legend? To him, that's just a flat-out violation of the Brotherhood.
And this brings us right to the heart of the matter. Porter is making the case for the team, for the family, that what happens in that locker room stays in that locker room. But does that rule still hold up when one person feels like their own truth, their personal experience, is completely different?
So the thing is, it's not so black and white. Analysts will tell you James Harrison has always been known as a guy who tells it like it is. He's authentic. His side of things seems to come from his own personal interactions with the coach. So while Porter sees a brotherhood being broken, others see a guy who feels he has a right to tell his own story, arguing that just because it was great for most players doesn't mean it has to be Harrison's truth too.
All right, let's switch gears. Big time. From a battle over the past, we're jumping into a massive debate about the future. The 2024 quarterback draft class was absolutely loaded. And now, 2 years in, the argument over who is really the best of the best is raging harder than ever.
First up, we've got the statistical phenom, the guy who almost overnight turned the New England Patriots into a force to be reckoned with, taking them all the way to a Super Bowl appearance in just his second year.
I mean, just look at that number, 4,000 plus yards. In 2025, he was a touchdown machine, a breakout year that put him right in the thick of the MVP race and cemented his status as a truly elite producer in this league.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. When you have respected analysts like Mina Kimes calling your season one of the best ever for a young QB, that's not just hype. You become the benchmark that everyone else is measured against. But then you've got the magician over in Chicago, Caleb Williams. And while his stat sheet might not be quite as flashy as Maye's just yet, his raw talent and his knack for the unbelievable play, well, it's just off the charts.
And this number right here, this is the core of the whole argument for Caleb. 7. 7 times in one season, he put the team on his back and won the game in the final 2 minutes. That's not a stat you can pad. That's the it factor. That's the clutch gene you just can't teach.
And that's exactly why you hear guys like Stephen A. Smith talk about him with such conviction. It's not just about what he's done so far, it's this unwavering belief in what he is destined to become. They see a future MVP, plain and simple.
And we can absolutely not forget the third man in this race, the electrifying Jayden Daniels, who has completely changed the game for the Washington Commanders.
I mean, his nickname tells you everything you need to know. Instant offense. From the second he walked onto that field, he made Washington a threat. His ability to see the field and create something out of nothing makes some people think he might just be the most complete QB of the whole bunch.
But this whole debate is really about something bigger than just these guys. It gets right to the heart of that classic NFL question. What's more important, the player's raw talent or the situation they land in?
And this chart just lays out the dilemma perfectly. With Drake Maye, you get proven elite production, but was he lifting a great team or was the team lifting him? With Caleb Williams, the ceiling is through the roof, but can he dial it back and play within the system when he needs to? And then you have guys like Daniels and Nix, incredible playmakers, but can they stay healthy, and what happens if you take away their elite weapons?
So this is the ultimate what if that all the analysts are wrestling with. If you put Caleb Williams on that loaded Patriots team, or you put Drake Maye on those scrappy Bears, do the results totally flip? It forces you to try and separate the player from their surroundings, and honestly, there's no easy answer. So, we've broken down the arguments, we've looked at the stats, the intangibles, everything. We've explored the battle between loyalty and truth, and the endless puzzle of potential versus production. Now, it's your turn to make the call.
You're on the clock. The pick is in. Who are you taking to build your franchise around for the next 10 years? Do you go with Drake Maye, the proven producer who's already putting up historic numbers? Do you bet on Caleb Williams, the magician who can pull a win out of thin air? Or do you take Jayden Daniels, the spark, who can ignite an entire franchise overnight? The future is in your hands.